Hey, fellow evolvers, welcome back to Evolving with Tina. If you're new here, this is where we keep it real, raw, and honest. I'm sharing everything I've learned and still learning on my own evolution because let's be honest, I'll never stop working on myself and neither should you. Growth isn't a final destination, it's a lifelong journey. Some days we're thriving, and other days we're just barely hanging on. But through it all, this space is a reminder that you're not alone. All right, grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, and let's get into it because today we're talking about what it really means to be a highly sensitive person. Here's the honest truth. I had no clue what a highly sensitive person even was. I'd never heard the term, and I definitely wouldn't have pegged myself as one. I just thought I was emotional, maybe a little intense, and just too deep for most people to handle. It wasn't until I met my third therapist, yep, I bailed on the first two, a story for another day, that everything started to click. This therapist was calm, he was grounded, and incredibly perceptive. Within minutes, he looked at me and said, "You're what I call an HSP." He explained it like with so much clarity and kindness that for the first time ever, being sensitive didn't feel like a flaw. It felt more like an explanation. It was like, oh, that makes sense now. I totally get it. That was a major turning point. It helped me stop seeing my sensitivity as something to be fixed and start seeing it as something I could actually understand and even embrace. So, what does it actually mean to be highly sensitive, anyways? Let's keep it super simple here. When my therapist first mentioned being a highly sensitive person, my initial thought was it was someone who cried a lot or took things personally. Turns out that's not even close. Being highly sensitive is a natural biological trait. It's not a flaw. It's a way of processing the world. So, roughly like 30% of people have it. So, it's not that rare, to be honest, just often misunderstood. So, it means your nervous system is wired to notice more, feel more, and think more deeply. You're tuned into like the subtle stuff, like shifts in someone's energy or their tone of voice or even lighting in a room. So a doctor, Elaine Aron, she's the pioneer in this space. She created a simple acronym to explain a highly sensitive person, and it is the DOES. So D stands for depth of processing. You think deeply and thoroughly. O stands for over arousability. That's a big word. Your system gets overstimulated faster than most people. E, emotional responsiveness and empathy. You connect emotionally and feel what others feel. That one's a big one for me. I totally am that. S, sensitivity to nuances. You pick up on the details most people overlook. Being a highly sensitive person is like walking through life without a coat in the middle of an emotional snowstorm. You feel everything the second it hits you, but when the sun shines, you're the first to feel the warmth too. So let's talk about how this actually plays out. If you're an HSP, you probably relate to this even if you didn't have a name for it before. You feel the mood of a room instantly. You notice a shift in someone's voice and start wondering what that might mean. A kind gesture or a piece of music can move you into tears. Too many voices, too much noise, or being pulled in too many directions, it's overwhelming. That's me for sure. Even positive experience like a fun night out can leave you feeling emotionally drained. For me, it shows up in subtle but strong ways, like After a long day at work, I crave quiet. So, no TV, no talking, just time to unwind. Sometimes I'll just read in the quiet or I'll write. It just has to be quiet. Scents hit me super hard. So, if someone has like strong perfume on or if they've got bad BO or whatever else, strong smell just throws me completely off. Or when the TV's on, the dogs are playing, my husband's trying to talk to me, I literally cannot focus. My brain just says like, whoa, this is way too much. One other crazy thing that drives me nuts is my bathroom fan. My husband will put the bathroom fan on, and as soon as I walk in there, it just drives me nuts. I have to shut it off immediately. I don't know what it is with it. It just really, really drives me nuts. Sometimes, even when I'm asleep, I'm tuned in. So if like one of my dogs starts walking up and down the hallway, I feel it like in my sleep. It's like the weirdest thing. I'll have to get up because I know he needs to go to the bathroom. And when it comes to people, I instantly pick up on their energy, even if they're putting on a happy face. If I say something in a conversation that I feel was like slightly off, whatever, I'll replay it over and over, wondering if I made it like weird and awkward. I don't know if you do that, but I definitely do. It's like that moment, oh my God, did I really just say that? Oh, the worst. But the truth is that doesn't make us fragile, okay? It makes us insightful, aware, and deeply in tune with our surroundings, because being a highly sensitive person can feel like a blessing and a curse, especially when you're surrounded by people who just don't get it. What feels obvious or intense to us might not even register for someone else. So instead of understanding, we get labeled as we're overly sensitive, you overthink everything, you just need to relax. And after hearing that on repeat, you start to internalize it. You begin to question yourself. You start to wonder if there's something wrong with you, when the truth is you simply just operate on a different level. And what happens is you put on armor, you tune yourself down, you act like you're fine when you're really not, you hold in tears, you bite your tongue, and you ignore your gut. All just to avoid being seen as too emotional. I've been there more times than I can count, so I totally get it. And just let me tell you this, suppressing your sensitivity doesn't make it go away, it just buries it. And buried emotions have a sneaky way of turning into anxiety, burnout, and that numb feeling like you're not even you anymore. Sensitivity isn't the issue. The real issue is most people have no idea what sensitivity actually is. So until we stop treating it like a flaw, we're going to keep seeing deeply feeling people shrink themselves just to survive. But let's flip the script. Being highly sensitive isn't something to hide. It's something to own. Because here's the truth, your sensitivity is your superpower. HSPs are naturally tuned in. We pick up on the undercurrents. We notice the unspoken things, the energy, the tone, the shift. We connect deeply. We feel art, music, people. We sense what others miss, and that's a true gift. And science even backs this up, okay? Highly sensitive people show more brain activity in areas tied to empathy and decision making. We process more, reflect more, and when we're in the right environment, we come alive. So we might need more quiet time, yeah. We might cry easier. But we also bring insight, compassion, and depth the world desperately needs. The key is learning how to work with it instead of fighting it. That's when everything will shift. That's when you stop second guessing yourself. That's when you stop apologizing for how you feel. And you start showing up as the beautiful, aware, deeply feeling, widely in tune human you were always meant to be. And before we move on, let's talk about something that doesn't get talked about nearly enough. Sensitive men, okay? We still live in a world where emotional expression is often seen as unmanly. But I'm here to tell you that sensitivity in men is super powerful. It's needed. It's strength, okay? I'm a boy mom. I've got 3 grown sons, and one of the things I am most proud of is how open they are emotionally, okay? They're not afraid to talk about their feelings. They're not ashamed of being soft when it really matters. And that's something I've worked really hard to nurture. We have to stop shaming men out of their emotions, because when men are allowed to be vulnerable, to feel, to express themselves fully, they become better partners, better dads, and honestly, just better humans altogether. So I'll say this: if you're raising a son or loving a man who feels deeply, support that, celebrate that, because the world needs more of it. So now that we're seeing our sensitivity for what it is, a strength, how do we actually live in a world that's constantly overstimulating? That's the tough part. Because let's be real, the modern world is loud and fast. And when you're wired like us, we need to be intentional. Here are 5 things that have helped me manage my sensitivity without shutting it down, okay? Number 1, create space to decompress. So after a long day, your system needs time to reset, whether it's journaling, walking in nature, or just sitting in silence. Honor what helps you come back to center, okay? 2, know your sensory triggers, okay? Loud fans, I know that's one of mine, strong smells, crowded rooms. You don't have to power through them. Just prep ahead of time, take breaks, protect yourself. Number 3, practice guilt-free boundaries, okay? Say no when something just doesn't feel right. Set limits without over-explaining yourself. You're not being difficult. You're being responsible with your energy, okay? 4, redefine what rest really means. Rest isn't like a weakness. Downtime doesn't mean you're lazy. It just means you're maintaining your nervous system, and that's super important. 5, find your people. Be around folks who get it, who totally understand what it's like to be an HSP. The ones who don't ask you to be less than who you are, who don't take your sensitivity personally, who actually see it as a strength. You weren't made to fit into a loud, push through it kind of world. You were made to feel, to notice, to connect. Build a life that honors that. So let's talk about something important. Highly sensitive people were often targets for narcissists. Why? Because we're empathetic. We give people the benefit of the doubt. We always try to understand. And that can make us super vulnerable. We second guess ourselves before we even question someone else. We think, maybe it is me. Maybe I'm just being like way too sensitive. But often we're picking up on the red flags before anyone else does. When we ignore that, we try to downplay it. We put ourselves at risk, and without boundaries, that over-responsiveness can lead to major burnout. Not because we're weak, but because our systems were built to absorb everyone else's stuff. So learning to manage that, it's not just helpful, it's super essential, okay? And if you've ever doubted whether or not this is actually backed by science, this next part might blow your mind a little bit, okay? Studies using brain imaging shows that highly sensitive people activate more areas of the brain when making decisions, especially in parts of connected to awareness, empathy, and emotional insight. We're more responsive to facial expressions, both joyful and painful. That extra processing power, it helps us tune into subtle cues others might miss. And our environments, it impacts us more than the average person. In difficult settings, we may feel more stressed, but in nurturing ones, we light up, we thrive, we absorb the good, we remember it, and we let it move us. It's not just about being sensitive to pain or discomfort. It's about being exquisitively receptive to beauty, joy, and connection. Okay? So if you're still wondering if you might be an HSP, here are a few research-based questions to reflect on. So, do loud noises, bright lights, or strong smells easily overwhelm you? Are you highly affected by other people's moods? Do you have a rich inner world full of imagination and reflection? Do you cry easily when moved by beauty, music, or deep emotion? Do you need alone time to recover from stimulation or socializing? And are you deeply moved by art, nature, and meaningful moments? If you're nodding along to most of these, then you're not alone. You are part of the group that experiences the world with greater depth and emotional awareness. So as we come to the end of this episode, if you've ever questioned your sensitivity, if you've ever been told to toughen up, get over it, or just stop feeling so much, let this be your reminder. You are not the problem. You're just built to process the world more deeply, and that is a true gift. Once you understand it, work with it, and protect it, you don't just feel more alive, you feel more you. Okay, before we go, I want to leave you with a gentle challenge. If anything in this episode resonated, I want you to notice the next time you apologize for your sensitivity. Instead of saying, sorry, I'm just too emotional, try, this matters to me. Instead of saying, why am I like this? Try, this is just how I process things. Start giving yourself permission instead of guilting yourself, okay? Permission to need the quiet time, permission to cry, permission to feel, whatever the case may be. This week, let your sensitivity be your compass, okay? Not your excuse, not your burden, but your guide, okay? And if this episode hit home for you, send me a message on Instagram or email me at talk@evolvingwithtina.com. Tell me what landed for you. I really want to know. I really want to hear from you. And if there's someone in your life who needs to hear this for a little reminder, share it with her. Let her know she's not alone. All right, my fellow evolvers, until next time, keep evolving, keep glowing, and never stop showing up for yourself because you matter. Much love.